Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm here to talk about something that could make you very rich. So, there's a lot of stocks that you can invest in the stock market, but I think that there's one in particular, one asset that could probably make you the most money. It's the most proven, it's been going on for a very long time, and putting not much money into that can make you a lot of money in the long term. So, without further ado, if you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're nearing 600 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's get right into it. So, as you can see, decent day in the portfolio, almost 23,000 now. Dropped a little bit, but we were actually at 23,244 is the high of today, and it's been a little, kind of just stagnant past 3 months. We're up overall, but especially this past month here, it's been very, in and out of profit and losing money. So very close in that regard. But if we take a look at what I'm here to talk about today, this ETF is SCHG. This is the Schwab US Large Cap Growth ETF. This is one that over the long term, ever since its inception, has done incredible. I mean, it's outperformed the S&P every single year. It's averaged a 16.53% compounding annual growth rate. Insane. If we look at the S&P 500, this has done, not like a fraction of that. It usually does 10.6 a year since 1993. So it's been around a little bit longer. It's been around through maybe some harder times, but at the same time, it's not the same. And then we check the expense ratio for this one, 0.09. We check the expense ratio for this one, it is 0.04. So less than half of the expense ratio of the other one. Very great to see. That's a great thing to see when you're looking at these stocks, these ETFs. I mean, you want to see a lower expense ratio, but this is what I'm here to talk about today. 16.53% compounding annual growth rate, and this stock is only $30. They just recently did a split. So if you have that, and let's say you're starting with $1,000, everyone can pull together $1,000 from somewhere. Maybe don't go out to eat for a few months, or you can probably pull together $1,000. And let's say you want to retire when you're 65, you're 30 right now, you have 35 years. 16.53% is the compounding annual return rate of this SCHG ETF, which, if you guys didn't know, this ETF is mostly technology, but this is not what the ETF is. It tracks the Dow Jones US Large Cap Growth Total Stock Market Index, which selects growth stocks from 750 of the largest US companies by market cap. So what this company does is they just take the fastest growing companies, which, at this point in time happens to be technology companies, and they just invest in those, which is a pretty good strategy. I mean, it's worked out very well, and I think it's going to continue to do that. That's why Nvidia and Microsoft and Apple are almost all 10% of this company's portfolio. So very good and proven strategy right there. And let's say you're just contributing $100 a month. So let's take a look at all these stats. You start with $1,000. You have 35 years. You're 30 years old. You want to retire when you're 65. You're putting this into a Roth IRA, maybe. I'm not sure. And then you have a return rate of 16.53%. This is compounding annually, and then you're additionally contributing $100 at the beginning of every month. You have 1.873 million at the end of this, so that's a pretty sizable amount of money, especially considering that your contributions were only 42,000. If we take a look towards this is how compounding annual growth rate works. Albert Einstein actually said, man's greatest invention, but I mean, it looks like nothing in the beginning, and then the snowball starts rolling, and then the difference between year one and year two is you made $513 in interest instead of 270. The difference between year 34 and 35 is almost $40,000. So that just goes to show, I mean, the higher you go, your money's going to start multiplying faster, because let's say you start this when you're 20, you have a little bit more time. You have 45 years until you're 65. 8.6 million, and then you see towards the end of this, the last 2 years, your returns on interest alone, not even contributions, are around $200,000 from only contributing $1,000. And that's where you guys can play around with this calculator. I'll leave it in the description, but I mean, there's so many different scenarios. Let's say you're investing in this for your kid, $100 a month. You would give your kid, $131,000 when they graduate from high school, maybe. I mean, that's a lot of money to give an 18-year-old. You could literally go out and buy a house. You could buy any car you want, pay for college tuition. There's a lot of things you can do with that, and all you're doing is investing $100 a month. You can invest $100 a month by cutting out, Starbucks, cutting out eating out. Maybe don't eat out twice a month, like 2 times you were gonna eat out, stay in and eat, a home cooked meal. There's so many ways you could save just $100 a month. Everyone can save $100 a month, no matter the situation you're in. As long as your expenses, are relatively close, or I mean, ideally less than your income. Because if it's more and you're just, head over heels in debt, and the return rate on your debt is more than 16.53%, your APR on your credit cards, your overdue late payments, then you need to handle those first. But this is for if you do have, some stuff together, or maybe before it gets to that point, because hopefully it never does. Hopefully this will help out. And a way that you can compensate with this, let's say you're 40 and you want to retire when you're 65. So you have 25 years and you want to invest $100 a month. When you retire, you're only going to have 400,000, a great sum of money from only investing 30,000. I mean, don't get me wrong, but probably a lot of people want a lot more when they retire. So maybe you can, make this a little bit faster by investing more money a month. So you see, if you invest $500 a month, you turn that into 1.8 million from 400,000, and then so on and so forth. If you invest $1,000 a month, you turn it into 3.5 million, and it just keeps going up. I mean, obviously, the more you invest with this same return rate, the more money you're going to get back. And I mean, that's just goes to show that if you are, aggressively investing, if you're investing, 30% of your income, let's say you're investing like 100% of your income for 10 years. You're just, locked in for 10 years. You're saying, I just want to do this investing thing. I don't want to work a job. And you're investing 100% or 90% of your income. You make maybe $4,000 a month. You invest $3,500. You use $500 to survive. You'd have $1 million in 10 years for making, what's considered below average salary in America. So that's pretty impressive. It goes to show how powerful this really is. And then let's say you do this for 20 years. That just blows everything out of the water at this point. Then you're at, almost 6 million from working a below average job in the US salary wise. You're at almost $6 million, which less than 1% of the US has. And you also have it in cash, not even assets, which is insane. So there's a lot of ways you can go about this. You guys should play with that calculator yourself, see how it works for you, see how you like it, because I can, go through it all day with these different scenarios, but it doesn't really matter unless it's relative to you. Because if we take a look, I mean, I like to put in, let's say you get a good job, you're making $10,000 a month, and you want to invest 90% of your income. You're young, you just got out of college, maybe you scored like a good job, and you want to invest 90% of your income. You're aggressively investing, and this is when maybe you got out when you're 22. By the time you're 30, what are you gonna have? 8 years, 9,000. You're aggressively investing, 1.7 million. And let's say you do this till you're 40, you're aggressively investing, same thing. That's 18 years. That's 10 million. You can live off of 10 million for the rest of your life, I'd say. That's a good number to be very comfortable, because off of putting 10 million inside of even a high yield savings account, you're making $400,000 a year, which is more than enough for most people. So that's just in a high yield savings account. I think you can easily invest that into an index and make 10% a year, which is probably the better option in my opinion. Which would be $100,000 a year, but that's also not cash. It varies year to year. Some year the S&P is down 10%, some year it's up 30%. You don't want to invest in it short term per se. But I really do think that this is a great tool, this calculator especially, because it really does a great job at visualizing it right here. You guys can see how much of the money is the money that you put in, how much is the money that was actually made from the interest of the stock itself appreciating over time. So it's really interesting to see that, and it's just, it's a very helpful tool when it comes to this, and you can try it out with different ETFs. I don't want to make this video about, looking for the best ETF. I think it's SCHG just because of the low expense ratio and the high return rate. But I also think that a very close second place, if you don't trust SCHG, maybe you don't think it's backed enough, I think that VOO is a very close second place. They might even be tied. This expense ratio is 0.03. Its average return rate is 14.7%. I think that VOO is very close to this one. A lot of people invest in VOO. I've held a lot of VOO over my time, a lot of VOO. I think that this is definitely a better alternative to SPY. I would not invest in SPY as much as it's the most talked about ETF. I think that VOO does a much better job, especially with the expense ratio. It's not much. But once you do get up in that higher dollar amount, it does matter a lot more how much your expense ratio is and how much you're paying for that kind of stuff. So I think that VOO is a great idea. I think SCHG is even better. And then I think the S&P is kind of, down there a little bit more. But there are a lot of ETFs to look through. I mean, You guys can look through them yourself, but I'd say just don't invest in a yield max ETF. I'd watch out for that. These like JEPI yield max ETFs are garbage. They're horrible. You're not going to make any money with yield max. You might, but I mean the expense ratio is insane. It's almost 30%, or not 3% or whatever it is. I mean it's just way too much. And then you don't even see the yield. It's bad. There's no reason to invest in these. And then look at the price in the past 5 years. It's up 8%. All time it's up 13% since 2020. It's up 13%. I mean, what? I mean, let's look at the S&P. Let's look at the S&P in the past 5 years. This one's up 8%. Like, yes, it pays dividends. It's not paying as much dividends as the S&P is up. This is just the S&P in the past 5 years. Let's see how much it's up. It's up 103%. SCHG in the past 5 years. I mean, don't even get me started. What's that up? 133%. VOO in the past 5 years is probably up somewhere between 120 and 130 as well. Oh, no, 103. So very similar. I mean, all of these are in the same regard. SCHG obviously stands out a little bit more. That extra 6% boost that it has on the S&P is a lot. That goes to show right here. If we change this from 16.53, let's do another one of those base cases where you have 35 years, you're 30, and you start with $1,000. You're investing $100 at the beginning of every month. You end with 1.8 million. Let's say that you invested that in SPY instead of SCHG. That's a pretty crazy difference, honestly. I mean, you guys can, decide for yourself if that's a crazy difference, but from 1.8 million to $421,000, that's life-changing money of a difference. You know what I mean? I mean, this makes it look like the strategy isn't even that good. SCHG really has it has the highest return rate as far as indexes go. One of the highest return rates that's also proven, and they stay true to that. They've done it for over a decade, almost 2 decades now. They've returned that 16.53%. The S&P is also very proven, but I mean, there's no reason to put money in it, I don't think. I think the SCHG is just a lot better. And you guys should also, like I said, play around with this calculator. Great visualization, especially once you get towards the end here. You see you can't even see your contributions. You've made so much off of interest. That's what every investor loves to see. You put in barely any money, you make a bunch of money. That's a great thing. And the earlier you start with this, the better. I mean, if you guys haven't caught on to that yet, you see 45 years is 8.6 million, 35 years is 1.8 million, and then 55 years, let's say you start this one, maybe I don't even know, you're 20, you want to retire when you're 75, that's 40 million. And this is just from investing $100. So time is very much more important than how much you're putting in. That's why I say, don't be scared. If you can only buy one share of SCHG right now, do it. I mean, if you can't even buy a share, buy half a share. There's no reason to be scared. I mean, it's all a time thing. It's about time in the market, not timing the market. So a lot of people get scared away from stock or from ETFs like VOO, which is like $611. People think, oh, if I put $20 in, it's not going to do anything. Guys, the price is all relative. It doesn't matter at all. It's all about the percent changes. Literally, it's just an emotional aspect that you have to get over. It's hard to get over, but it is really just true. I mean, if you put $20 into this and make 103%, you made $43, or you made $40.30. You're not making anything. I mean, you're making $40, and then if you put $40 in, you're making $80, and then if you put $100 in, you're making $200. I mean, there's no math. I mean, it's just math. You're not, if you put $600 in, yeah, you're making more. But if you put $10 in, you're making the same percent return, no matter how much you put into this. You can buy fractional shares. I'd suggest buying fractional shares. I just buy with money, and then, I mean, you can see all the stocks I have. I never really buy in shares. I just have fractional shares of all of these because I buy in dollar amounts, not shares. That just makes more sense to me. That's my investing thesis, my strategy. I have a little bit of buying power right here. Probably going to buy some SCHG with it, honestly. I need to start getting a little bit more in this portfolio. In other portfolios definitely have some SCHG. I'll probably buy some shares right now just because it's after hours, but I mean, even right here, I'm just going to buy 5 shares of SCHG. Why not? I mean, I do want to hold more of this stock, especially as time goes on. This is just to show you guys I actually do believe in it. $160, just put it into SCHG. Even when it's at an all-time high, it really is about time in the market, not timing the market. That's the most important thing I can tell you guys. There's no reason to be scared of a stock just because it's expensive. Unless, as long as you believe in the company still. The SCHG has done nothing that makes me not believe in them. Everything they have is something that I still believe in. Nothing's changed at all. It's just like SoFi, the video I went over yesterday. SoFi, very expensive stock. If we want to check out that price, their PE ratio is almost 60, but from what I've seen, they deserve it. 60 PE ratio, but the numbers that they're bringing in are insane. So I'm still, investing in SoFi, the top one right here. SoFi stock is exploding higher, but don't cash out yet. I'm up over, almost 250% on this stock. I was 250% earlier today for sure, at another all-time high today. I mean, this company is doing great things. Their growth rates are through the roofs, and that's why their stock is so expensive. So if you can buy some of that, I'd highly suggest to do so. But yeah, so moral of this video is that SCHG, I think, is the best ETF, especially return-wise. And I will leave this calculator for you guys to play with. You can put in your own situation. For example, my situation right here, 19 years old, what's my starting amount? 23,000 in the portfolio. I want to retire when, I don't know, maybe when I'm 65. No idea yet, so we'll say that I have 46 years. And then we'll say that I invest all of my money in SCHG for a 16.53% return. And right now I'm probably investing $2,000, $3,000 a month. We'll call it $2,500. If I just keep that up, then I should have $250 million by the time I'm 65. Can't complain about that. I definitely would take that. So, I mean, you guys, it's relative to your situation and what you're doing in life. But I mean, there's a lot of great things that you can do with this, and this calculator is going to give it to you the cold hard truth. It's just math. So maybe you can only afford to invest $20 a month. You're going to have 27 million. I mean, that just shows how important time is. You invest $20 a month. I mean, it's mostly from this 23,000, I guess, but I mean, it's pretty impressive because it's just there's a lot of great things you can do with investing. So I don't know what button I just clicked, but that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, be sure to like this video. It helps me out a lot. Also subscribe to the channel. We're reaching 600 subscribers, almost 550. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.